We have been studying about this great man, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We were impressed by his work for civil rights and his speeches. We especially liked his famous I Have a Dream speech. In this speech, Dr. King said, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character."
After listening to Dr. King's famous speech, we all wrote our own dream speeches. We would like to share a few with you now.
I have a dream that one day this nation will put down the guns and live in a peaceful place. I have a dream that one day no one will harm animals for fur coats. I have a dream that one day everyone is nice to others. I have a dream that all homeless people have a place to live. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day everybody has their dream job. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day everybody has enough money. This is my hope and faith. With this faith, we will be able to stop racism and act as kind citizens to all. This will be the day when we have a world full of caring people. I have a dream that one day guns will be illegal. I have a dream that one day people will stop war. I have a dream that one day people will stop hunting animals. I have a dream that one day no one will argue. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day no more wars will be fought. I have a dream that one day peace will be on. This is my hope and faith. With this faith, we will be able to change the world one nation at a time. This will be the day when everybody will hold hands and become a nation of harmony, peace, friendship, and kindness. I have a dream that one day this nation will take better care of the earth. I have a dream that one day there would be no cigarettes so people could have better lungs. I have a dream that one day there would be a cure for cancer. I have a dream that guns are illegal so people could live longer. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day this nation will be litter free. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day there would be peace all over the world. This is my hope and faith. With this faith, we will be able to live in a happy nation. This will be the day when everything is right in the world. When we let freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing the words of the old spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. The second graders would like to dedicate a song to Dr. King in honor of his birthday. The name of the song is I Have a Dream by Teresa Jennings.
There was a man in America who had a dream, they say.
II, African Americans fought for equal rights in cities across the United States. One of the practices that civil rights activists aimed to take down was unfair bus pricing. African Americans were forced to enter and pay through the back, sit only in the black section, and stand for whites if the white section was full. After Rosa Parks was arrested for violating these policies on December 1st, 1955, leaders of Montgomery's black community gathered for a planning meeting the next night. E.D. Nixon, previously the leader of Montgomery's chapter of the NAACP, invited Ralph Abernathy and a young minister from Atlanta, the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.
All right, everybody, quiet down. We are here today to organize a boycott for Montgomery's buses. We have bailed out Mrs. Rosa Parks, but I think it's time that we make a stand.
What do you propose we do?
I say we boycott the buses. We'll spread the word this weekend and get as many people as possible to find another way to work this Monday.
That sounds good, but how are we going to get the word out?
We'll call the local newspapers, radio stations, and television studios. They'll broadcast our message to the whole city.
And I think the black population of Montgomery will respond.
When Monday morning came, organizers were thrilled to see over 90% of African American riders participating in this bus boycott. Leaders of the boycott including Abernathy, King, and Nixon, met on Monday afternoon in preparation for the mass meeting scheduled for later that night.
The boycott has gotten better than we could have ever expected. The response so far has been incredible. We feel like the time is right to lead a full-scale boycott.
Gentlemen, before we go forward, we need to formulate a policy for future course of action. Here are our demands. 1. Allow all patrons, white and black, to be seated on buses on a first-come, first-served basis. 2. Give assurance that black customers will not be subjected to abusive and assaulting language from the bus operators. 3. Blacks who qualify should be employed as bus drivers as well.
The boycott must continue until all of these demands are met.
Don't you think we already made our point with the one-day boycott? It may be better to end it while it's successful rather than let it die out in a couple of days.
This boycott will have support. The people of Montgomery want change.
The group decided to continue the boycott until their demands were met and created a new organization to handle the movement, the Montgomery Improvement Association. Martin Luther King Jr. was elected to be president of the newly formed organization. After working out the details of the boycott, the leaders discussed how to conduct the larger meeting plan for that night.
So what's the plan for tonight? Are we going to have a prayer meeting or something more?
Let's keep it low-key. There are going to be reporters from all over at the meeting tonight. I don't want to have to worry about my name getting out as a radical to the white community.
Everyone, quiet! How the heck are we going to have a protest without letting the white folks know about it? What's the matter with you people? Here you ministers have been living off the sweat of these poor folks all these years, and you haven't done a thing for them. And now you've got a chance to help them, but you're too darn scared to stand up and be counted. I think you're acting like a bunch of cowards.
Nobody can call me a coward. Come on, let's roll up our sleeves and get down to work.
Later that night, King addressed thousands of supporters at Holy Street Baptist Church.
Good evening. As you know, we are here today because Rosa Parks took a stand 4 days ago. Rosa Parks, one of the finest citizens in all of Montgomery, arrested for refusing to give up her seat to a white man. For decades, we have been oppressed by these policies. But there comes a time when people get tired of being segregated and humiliated, tired of being kicked around by the brutal feet of oppression. I want it to be known that we're going to work with grim and firm determination to gain justice on the buses of this city. And we are not wrong. We are not wrong in what we are doing. If we are wrong, the Supreme Court of the United States is wrong. If we are wrong, the Constitution of the United States is wrong. If we are wrong, God Almighty is wrong. If we are wrong, Jesus of Nazareth was merely a utopian dreamer and never came down to earth. If we are wrong, justice is a lie. We are determined here in Montgomery to work and fight until justice runs down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream.
The momentous victory stimulated activism in the South and made MLK Jr. a rising leader in the fight for equal rights for all Americans.
Martin Luther King was born January 15, 1930. He had two siblings. His father was a preacher and his mother was a former teacher. High school, he graduated top of his class. He became a preacher, and he mastered his craft. He remarried Coretta Scott King and received his PhD from Boston University. Around this time, he noticed race inequality. He declared his sovereignty. He believed in human rights for the masses. In 1950, the West Boycott, people walked by the thousands, not just walking, but walking peacefully. From what he can see, we were one step future when we could be together. Liberty and justice for all. The very next day he marched, he received death threats. The next month his house was bombed. In spite, he kept marching. In 1960, he led a series of protests that were, of course, marched peacefully. Arrested several times, his phone was tapped. In spite, he kept marching. His iconic I Have a Dream speech was ironic because that dream was a collective hope that would tear us from the hate speech that we came from. Because on the outside, we're all different, but underneath is all the same love. Not only because there were blacks and whites marching, but fighting for the same thing, one big melting pot on the same team. And he kept marching. In 1968, he led a march that turned violent. Car horns and police sirens. That same day on his motel balcony, he was silenced. The legacy that we hold dearly, equality, that we strive for daily, peace, what we pray for nightly. Thank you.
All right, nice job, Niles, aka 5150. All right, guys, we did this last year. Take that one. We got Elijah over here, aka MC Grammar. So we're gonna do the same song as last year. It's called Civil Rights. All right, drop that beat. Shout out to Mr. Ellis once again for the beat.
Civil rights is a phrase you heard, but what's the meaning of these little words? It means your rights are guaranteed as a citizen
of a given country.
Say I want to go to a certain school. It's a right as a citizen that I can choose. If they don't accept my application based on my race, then likely facing
a lawsuit,
because that's against the law. It's a civil right to go where I want. I could be anything that I want to be. No last civil restricting me. I could dine in a restaurant of my taste. Can't ban my religion, my race is my right, my mind. I won't stand for you. And I live in the neighborhood where I choose. I go where I wanna go.
It's a civil right.
I eat where I wanna eat.
It's a civil civil right.
I go where I wanna go.
It's a civil right.
A civil right.
Come on, civil right.
I go where I wanna go.
It's a civil right.
I eat what I wanna eat.
It's a civil
I
right.
live where I wanna live.
It's a civil right. A civil right. Come on.
Civil right.
Civil rights weren't always secure. If your skin wasn't white, your dreams were deferred. It took a movement of epic proportion to get the nation to embrace the notion that everyone has the right to be free, no matter who's in your family tree. MLK had the master plan of the different man. It was the common man. There was boycotts and sittings that helped the cause to put an end to Jim Crow laws. He was segregation, not finally, not violent protest. Was the key. It was plain to see in the photos and news. Average Joes put themselves in their shoes. What do they do to be treated this way? They raise their voice for the right to say.
I go where I wanna go.
It's a civil right.
I eat what I wanna eat.
It's a civil
I
right.
live where I wanna live.
It's a civil right.
A civil right.
Come on, civil right.
I go where I wanna go.
It's a civil
I
right.
eat what I wanna eat.
It's a civil
I
right.
live where I wanna live.
It's a civil right.
A civil right.
Come on.
Civil right.
But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read of the greatness of America in our right to protest far right.
I go where I wanna go.
It's a civil right.
I live where I wanna live. I go where I wanna go. Civil right. Civil right.
Come on, civil right.
I go where I wanna go. I eat what I wanna eat. I live where I wanna live.
Civil right. Thank you guys.
Students come on and talk about MLK and what he did and his legacy he left behind.
Good afternoon. We're here to introduce a fiscal section for a recognition of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Day is about love. One of America's greatest civil rights leaders taught us about love. He loved all of us, regardless of race, gender, religion, or sexual orientation. Dr. King's thoughts were influenced by the writings of Henry David Thoreau. His work maintain that individuals should not let go things eliminate their personal conscience. Like Thoreau, Dr. King argued that each person had a duty to resist their government from molding them into acts of injustice. Dr. King also used the teachings of Mohandas Gandhi in transforming his beliefs and applying peaceful protests to achieve positive change. As a man of deep faith and a genuine conscience, Dr. King left a permanent mark on the world by developing awareness and raising consciences against injustices, and that is why we honor him by remembering his life.
Alright, so to your right, you'll see a quote. Well, it's gone now. But it was a quote dedicated by Nelson Mandela about the words of Martin Luther King. So now we're going to show you a couple situations you might run into in your everyday life. These skits were written by fellow high schoolers, and they will show you that you do not need to wait until you're an adult to make a change in your life. After the skit, you'll be asked questions about what you think about these situations. Together, these different pieces talk about equality, racism, and obstacles that individuals go through and experience in society. While you're watching, we want you to remember how Martin Luther King treated people with respect while helping your loved ones in a time of need.
I can't believe I got a B- in participation in Miss Evans' class. That is such a rip-off. I talked more than anybody else.
Well, what did you expect? She's Indian. Of course she got a good
doesn't agree with it.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, you're right. I think I should have gotten higher grades in class too. I bet if Joan and I had the exact same paper word for word, I'd get a B and she didn't.
If you're having the same paper word for word, you both work out enough. That's for sure. Well, you know what I mean. It's like how Linda got all mad at me for telling the exact same joke she said the day before. Well, wasn't that joke a little, I don't know, racist? Maybe, but I was just kidding. I don't think anyone should be like that.
Come on, don't be such a baby. You know what we mean.
Yes, I know what you mean, but I think that you're wrong. Being offensive is always wrong, no matter what race you are. I want to tell you how I feel, but I'm afraid you'll get mad at me and stop doing that crap. What should I do?
Now stop. Think quietly about Claire should do. Should she confront Natalie and Ariel? Should she talk to them privately? Or should she just go along with these jokes? Now, stand up if you think Claire, raise your hand, Claire. If you think Claire should confront Natalie and Ariel and tell them that they are being racist. Now raise your hand if you think Claire should go along with the jokes. Okay. And finally, clap your hands if you think Claire should talk to them privately later. Most of you guys voted and some of you guys just sat there, but that won't cause you trouble. Just to let you know that there are choices that you should make to make a difference in this world. Let us remind you the words of Martin Luther King in his letter from Birmingham jail. Sometimes the injustice isn't so obvious. Sometimes it's just looking inside someone's humanity because we see them as the enemy. Our next step will show you how this can happen even on the sports field.
Hey, Ariel, what do you have there? This is what I read before all of my meetings.
What is it? A prayer?
No, it's an inspirational quote by William Prince. I'll tell you what it says. No matter how bad things are, believe in yourself. Even if you're defeated, hold your head up high. Don't be afraid because only you are in charge of your fate, and you are the path to
Okay. I like to turn my socks inside out before games. Yeah, and I like to bring my own things too.
No, seriously, guys, Invictus was a poem that Mandela was inspired by while he was in prison.
Did she seriously just compare herself to Mandela? Yeah, and I'm like... She needs to know that it's all about taking the ball and scoring a goal. If you got the ball first, you need to get the score. Right?
Yeah, it's every girl for herself. That's what I say.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I think that soccer is a team sport and a great metaphor for life. We all need to work together to succeed. We can't accomplish as much by being selfish. We depend on one another, and each person on the team has a purpose that is just as important as the next.
You need to look the other team right in the eye and let them know that you hate them and that you intend to crush them. Right? No, Ariel.
Claire, love is stronger than hate, and winning in a fair and honest way where everybody has equal opportunities is the best way to win.
Yeah, well, I just don't like to lose. And I say do whatever it takes to win. Get ahead. Success.
And they all agree with me, don't you?
So let's stop and look at the situation. Alright, first, try to convince your teammates that it's best to work on a team and to succeed, or play as hard as you can, even if that means hogging the ball and scoring all the points. Or 3, playing hard, but share the ball with your teammates. Now raise your hand if you think you should convince your teammates that it's best to work as a team to succeed. Okay. Or clap your hands
even if that means hogging the monster alive. Now stand up if you think she should share the ball with her teammates.
Would you cheat on a test to get a better score?
Okay, that way, that makes sense. It is important to think about others and not yourself. Honesty is always the best policy. You all agree with me, don't you? It isn't all about winning. It's about having to get back in the game, even if you don't win. And you're right, love is stronger than hate. Dr. Mark's message should be acted out in many real-life situations.
Judging people by the context of their character, about treating people fairly at home, at school, in law, and even when you're something like a game, a test, or even a job. And now for the final question.
Give me one fact. I have a dream. That's something. What do you have a dream about? Finishing our school.
Dan Rather, reporting for CBS News from New York. The Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. was shot to death by an assassin late today as he stood on a balcony in Memphis, Tennessee. Dr. King had planned to lead another civil rights march in Memphis next Monday. We got the latest on the story now from Russ Hodge, News Director.
At this time, I have the honor to present to you the moral leader of our nation. I have the pleasure to present to you Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
Love as, in this context, as emotional bosh. I don't think of it as a weakness, but I think of love as something strong and that organizes itself in powerful direct action.
He spoke in Philadelphia on his trip to India and the whole philosophy of Gandhi and passive nonviolent resistance. And I was so deeply moved by the message that I went away and bought several books on the Gandhian, on Gandhi and Gandhian technique. And at that point, I became deeply influenced by Gandhi, never realizing that I would live in a situation where it would be useful to me.
I think the cause that we represent is right. Lord, I must confess that I'm weak now, faltering and losing my courage. It seemed at that moment that I could hear the inner voice saying to me, Martin Luther up for some great principle, some great issue, some great cause. You refuse to do it because you are afraid. You refuse to do it because you want to live longer. You're afraid that you will lose your job, or you're afraid that you will be criticized, that you will lose your popularity. Are you afraid that somebody will stab you or shoot at you from your house? So you refuse to take the stand. Well, you may go on and live until you are 90, but you are just as dead at 38 as you would be at 90. The sensation of breathing in your life is but the belated announcement of an earlier death of the spirit. You died when you refused to stand up for right. You died when you refused to stand up for truth. You died when you refused to stand up for justice. When we allow freedom reign, when we let it reign from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Are you serious?
Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Malala, and so many others alive. Remember that you do not have to wait until you're an adult to make a difference. Treat people fairly and with love today and tomorrow and beyond. Do not be afraid to stand up for what you know is right.